My name is Julie and I work at the Central Branch Library, and I'm here today to show you a craft that we made and we have a little grab and go kit for, and it is a snow-capped mountain that you made from clay, and these are two samples. So I have one that's a little more geometric print and then one that's a little more cone-like. So in your bag you'll have a plastic bag with a piece of silver clay in it, a paintbrush, a small little thing of white paint, you don't need a whole lot, and a pre-wrapped wire. What you'll need is a pair of scissors, and in the event that you do have a pair of pliers that have this nice little wire cutter in the middle, you can use those. If not, the scissors will work just fine. Also, the clay can air dry over 1 to 2 days, but if you want to make it go a little quicker, you can use an oven if you have access to an oven at home. So for the wire piece, so if you got a kit, you're going to have this right here like this, and I already wrapped it for you, but if you happen to be wrapping it at home for yourself, I'm going to show you quick how to do it. So what you'll need is a 20 gauge wire about 10 inches long. So if you have this at home, and this will help in the rest of it as well, a pair of pliers, they have a little thing right here that'll cut wire, and it'll cut it a lot easier than scissors. If not, scissors will help. So to wrap the wire, I use a marker or a highlighter. Anything that's kind of goes from a little bit smaller to a little bit bigger is helpful. And then I'm going to use needle nose pliers to do this. So I'm going to start to wrap the wire around the marker. I'm going to leave a good piece here because we want a bit to stick in. And just going to wrap it around once, and I'm going to try to wrap it really close. And then when I come here and it comes together, I'm going to start to twist that short piece around the longer piece. Push it up closer so I can tighten those two rings together. And I'm going to twist. And then I'm going to push it off, and it might not be close enough. And I like this because you can't slip it off, you can take the cap off. Okay, so those two rings aren't quite close enough. That's where this comes in handy. You're going to hold those two rings close together, and you're going to twist, and it's going to make it tighter. And they might not line up perfectly, but they'll be tight enough together that they'll hold your picture. And then you can just push that down. All right, and this is going to be what you're going to stick into your little clay piece. So the first thing you want to do is take your piece of clay, and you're just going to soften it up. The warmth of your hands will help to make it way more malleable. As you can see, it's kind of hard. You're just going to kind of knead it like dough until it becomes soft. All right, so once you get your clay nice and soft and malleable, you're going to make a triangle. So there's two ways you can do this. One way is to do a little snow-capped mountain like this. And so for this, if you just make kind of a ball, and so to get this bottom surface, you want the bottom surface nice and flat. So I'll just roll it into a ball, and I'll show you right quick. All right. You're going to put it down like that, get that flat surface, and then pull it up as you form your mountain. So however you want to look at it. Look however you want it to look. So it can be craggy, or it doesn't have to be. You just want to make sure that it's going to be stable, and you can stick the wire into that top part. So don't go to a really pointy tip. About that is probably good. So the other way you can do it is to have a more 3D kind of geometric look to your mountain. So I'm going to kind of use I'm going to start to form kind of a triangle. Then I'm going to flatten it. So I'm just using, it's like a card blank. Think of it like an old gift card. So if you have one of those handy, this would totally work. I'm going to shape it up like that. I'm going to flip it over. So I'm actually working it on its side, but this is going to be the base. So you want to stand it up. You can flatten those surfaces. And make sure you don't make it too thin because, again, it needs to stand up. So if you need to make it a little squatter, you can make it a little squatter. If you need to make it a little thicker at the bottom, you put more pressure on the top there. I'm going to put a little pressure and clean up those edges. And those edges can be kind of as pointy as you want. I like that they're a little rounded, but they tend to be, I like to make them a little sharp too, but not pointy. All right. Give them one little squash, flatten them out a little bit. All right. Once you're happy with the shape of your mountain, you're going to grab this, the little wire. So here's the thing. You're going to shove this into there. So if you put it like right on top, anything longer than your mountain will stick out the bottom. So you need to cut that off. So it doesn't really need to go that far down, and I don't want to necessarily hit the bottom. And depending on how far up you want it. So if you want it there, or you want to give it some space, and I think I want to give it some space. So I think there would probably be good for me because you can go higher like this. Just don't go too high. The wire's not that strong because we needed it to be malleable for you. All right, so I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to trim it. Like I said, the pliers do work a little better, but regular scissors will do. All right, and then I'm going to take those two ends, try to keep them together, and you're going to push them down into your mountain. All right, and then that's going to kind of squash the shape a little bit, so if you need to kind of tighten it up a little bit, use that card and tighten it up. All right, so you're going to put this then on a tin pan and bake it in the oven on 275 for about 15 minutes because it's a small piece. I would bake it standing up like that so you know it'll stand up, and then you take it out and let it cool. So once your little mountain comes out of the oven and is nice and cool, it should stand up like that, and you're ready to paint. It needs a little snow cap. So grab the white paint. You really don't need a lot, and you should have a paintbrush there. And I would start from the top, just painting all around. That top surface. And if you want a point coming down with a straight line, you can do a straight line, or you can do a little softer edge, more like curves. You want a little thicker layer, you can put a little extra on. And then once you're done, just make sure you let it dry real good, and then it'll be ready for you to use.